piece of document I've put together to help everybody kind of find the right products and know what we're actually looking for. I do go quite in depth. Now, I just want you to keep these things in mind when you're looking. Again, this should really help you identify something. And like it says here, product selection is about 50% of the hard work. So if you aren't selecting a good product from the get-go, you are just kind of cooking yourself in simple terms. So the truth about product selection is most people don't fail because they can't run ads. It's because they choose the wrong products, like I just mentioned. And to start off with, we want to sell to emotions. We're not selling the actual products, okay? We sell emotions, not products. Read that 10 times over. That is what you need to keep in your head. Now, people don't buy logically. They buy something to escape the problem that they are in. So as you can see here, you want to sell things like youth to the old, confidence to the insecure, status to the invisible, control to the overwhelmed, attractiveness to unnoticed. Now, if we all know about looks maxing, which I still think is so ridiculous, it gets people buying. It gets people buying a course because it thinks it's going to make them look more attractive. It might work. I have no idea. However, that attacks ugly people who want to be attractive. You know, the mid sevens who want to be tens kind of thing. And, you know, it works. We've seen it. If you've seen ads for looks maxing or you've seen it, it means that it's doing really well. Now, we are selling the relief. We want to ease people's problems. We want to ease their pains. We want to be the reason that they can be happy again, pretty much. All these people that we're selling to are just in search for being happy. And if your product doesn't connect a deep emotional trigger, it's weak. We want something that cuts deep, something that really attacks their insecurities. You know, fat people, we want to sell fat loss to them. Now, a lot of people have a desire to lose weight and to be skinny, but it's how we actually angle that product and attack them emotionally, which makes them buy. So the problem must hurt. I know this sounds horrible, but we are business people in this world, and businessmen, admittedly, are the most savage people on the planet. A winning product solves a problem that is emotionally intense, tied to an identity or insecurity. So when we are looking for a product, what this basically means is that when we're looking at it, is there a clear group of people that we are selling this to? So like I just said, with fat loss, we're selling to people that are fat. It's clear that they are fat, okay? Already costing the buyer mentally or socially. So meaning, how aware are they of this problem? Is the buyer already kind of going through solutions that have been presented to them and they're not really working? Are they getting shamed socially? Are they going through, physical or mental problems, basically? A weak problem is this will be nice to have. I might buy this one day. So like I'm talking about a Louis Vuitton bag. Of course, that's great to, whatever. You might not think so, but having a Louis Vuitton bag, a lot of people want it. It's pretentious, it's materialistic, but a lot of people want them, but not everybody buys them because it's just a simple want. It's not a need. So what we actually are looking for is something that people need. And now about 20% of that is marketing and how we actually use our sales psychology to go about that. The next video that I'm going to be making is how we can do product research and how we can find the gaps in the market, and also how we can basically angle our ads through language to directly target these people's emotions. Again, I might buy this one day. We don't want to be seeing that. We want people to be urgent. We want them to need our product now. So strong problems is I hate how I look. I feel embarrassed. I feel behind. I need to fix this now. So urgency. Again, no urgency, no sales. Sales is savage, like I said. Sales is not polite, it's surgical. We do not want to be directly saying you don't say you're insecure. We don't want to say that directly to the people. We want to be kind of go under the radar into their minds and basically rewire it to give us the sale, right? You must identify insecurities, you must break down their mental walls, and you must guide them to the conclusion without saying it directly. Now, all this is kind of done after you've found your product, and then you can break this down on your landing page. However, you need to think about this whilst you're actually looking for your product, because I can sell a t-shirt, but how much can I actually sell about a t-shirt? One of my products that really did well was a muscle fit t-shirt for men. And it was just like every other muscle fit t-shirt. However, I pointed out that the customer who was going to buy it probably has a beer belly or has a gut that they don't want to have. So the t-shirt hides the gut, so it's loose on the waist. These guys also go to the gym, but they just don't look after themselves to the point of pure health. These guys that are on the grind, these calisthenics kind of dons. Not like that. I'm selling to the people who, might do construction, so they've got big arms, they've got big chests, and exactly what I pointed out on the website hides the gut, but it makes their arms look massive and it makes the chest look big as well. So, when we're looking at a product, we're also looking, how can I actually angle this, or what desire can I attack for this product to do well? So you have to be thinking about this when you're looking at your products. Okay, we're trying not to look at it from our standpoint, because I've not got a gut, I can proudly say. I've not got huge arms, I've not got a massive chest. However, my ICP, ideal customer profile, is... I've blanked. What we say... I've lost what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm sure I give enough there. Anyway, but you must guide them to the conclusion without saying it directly. Okay, and you show them why their current solutions aren't working, why time is making it worse, basically making it a fact of you need to buy this now, don't wait 2 weeks to buy this, because in 2 weeks' time, you could be there already, and why this is an easy fix. So when we're actually looking for these products, again, we want to make sure that, okay, yes, it's solving a problem, but is it easy for them to implement into their life? Is it easy for them to actually put into their routine? Say like a spot cream, for example, probably one of the best out there that attacks problems, because a lot of teenagers have them. In that sense, the market, just my thinking with the market, who are the people who actually get bad spots, are teenagers. Teenagers often don't have a lot of money, okay? It might be people who go up from 18 to 21. I get spots here and there. Pretty sure that's just stress. But, you got to look at all angles of this. So go quite deep with it. Cold-blooded execution and ethical delivery. Okay, we want to make it seem as though we are there for their greater good. Okay, at the end of the day, we're running a business to benefit us. Yes, it's important that the product does actually benefit the customer, but at the end of the day, we are doing this for us. We're here because we know we can sell a product. The product does need to help. It is good, like I said, ethical delivery. You need to have good fulfillment, or else, again, it's not going to, you're not going to be able to scale it. Okay? Product really does matter. And it should feel like an easy fix, like I just mentioned. You've got to remove the friction, reduce the effort for the customer, and it's got to feel like a shortcut. So the best thing I can think of on the spot is the Manjaro jabs. I didn't know about these. I was in Thailand for 2 months, for like 2 years, 2 months. And I come back to England and everybody was on them. Everybody who I knew was fat was skinny. I was like, bloody hell, everybody's lost weight. And it's because they've sold a jab. Now, as somebody who does go to the gym, somebody who does actually look after themselves, it's ridiculous for me, but it's an easy fix. These fat people think that going out and going on a run is hard. Now, the people with discipline, people that are kind of in this kind of space, know that, yeah, it's going to be hard because you let yourself get there, right? But with these jabs, these clinics are making thousands, probably hundreds of thousands from these jabs, because they've provided an easy fix to a problem which wasn't actually them being fat. The problem is that they couldn't be arsed getting up and going for a run and losing it. So instead, what's the easy fix? They jab themselves with something. And that's just something I can string together. I'm sure there's loads of examples if I took the time. But if the solution feels complicated long-term and hard to maintain, it won't convert. People buy what feels. So something that finally, this makes sense, like the Manjaro jabs. It made sense to these fat people because fat people are normally fat because they're lazy. I'm really going in on fat people, but hey, each their own, whatever. And finally, this makes sense. In their head, it does, because their problem isn't being fat, it's that they're lazy. They don't want to get up and go for a walk. So what can they do instead? Take themselves to the clinic, have a jab, and probably do more than what an actual walk does, 10,000 steps a day. And little do they know, that's That's all it takes. But I can't sell them 10,000 steps because they simply don't want to do it. So another thing is the pricing. What we're actually looking for when we find a product is, it might be great, you might have a really good light machine that, I don't know, keeps you hydrated. I don't know, I genuinely just made that up. But if it doesn't fit in two hands, then you've got two problems coming your way. You have to ship that product, which can cost a lot of money if it's heavy and it's big. So what I actually advise you to find is something that fits in two hands. Okay, something that you can ship in an envelope is good. One of mine and Kay's winners were really, really, really big because we could literally put it in an envelope, and that was extremely cheap. And you could fit about 5 of these little things in the envelope. So when people were buying in bulks, it wouldn't change how much it was going to cost for shipping. So the selling price is 2.5 or 3x the cost of goods. Now, just use AliExpress. I'm going to see what I can do after this video and put in a bit more of like an easy quote finder, because I know something. I'll explain. I'll probably put it in right now. Okay, so basically, this is the website that you can use to get like a more accurate estimate of what your COGs are going to be. This is actually a website supplied to us by our suppliers, funnily enough, and you will be using these guys. Normally I talk to them on WhatsApp. You can send them a link to the AliExpress in WhatsApp once you've actually built the relationship with them. If you can just literally message them on WhatsApp and say that you've come from Visionary Club, and they will give you a quote there. Or you can find one this way. When you're doing your product research, this will probably be a lot quicker for you to do. So I've just got a random image, right? For example, so I've got this one. I've already downloaded it. So you download it, take a screenshot or whatever you need to do, and then you upload the image here. And then you simply just put in, I'm going to do UK because I'd be selling these to the UK. I know the market's quite big in the US for these. But again, America, UK, you can put them all in. So if you really want to, you can do Australia, you can do Canada, America. And it'll give you quotes for all the countries because it's all slightly different, more or less around the same. I don't know why that's coming up. Anyway, I'll just keep it that, but you get the gist. Okay, cool. So the full price of one here is, you got your product price and you got your shipping price there. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, $5. So they've actually got here, as you can see, multiple quotes from loads of different suppliers that do like similar products as well. So just take like the rough, like which one is it costing? This one's like way too expensive, right? So just find the one that you can find the cheapest, or one that's bang in the middle from like the highest to the lowest. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's how you kind of find the COGs, and I'd be then pricing it. So the full price of that is $8, but let's go for the $5 one, and I'd price that. So I'd price one or like a 3-pack of these, because I think it comes in, this one's like a 5-pack, I think, actually. So I'd then price it at around 2.5 higher, so maybe about, I don't know, $20 for 3, and then you can even go higher than that. So yeah, hope this helps. Again, this needs to feel reasonable in the buyer's head. So if we're selling a t-shirt and you're finding it for $20, but you're selling it for $75, now I'm not saying that's impossible. However, you're not a huge brand yet. So most of these smaller brands actually start off with $50. And if you've probably noticed with people like Broken Planet, their hoodies started off at about $75. Now they're about $150, I think. I could be making that up completely. But that's normally what they do, because they haven't got the virality there. They haven't got the social proof. They haven't got, it's not trending yet. So, for example, if the cost of goods are $10, sell price for around 2.5x at 29 or 39, and it has to feel fair. It has to feel like it makes sense for the product. If you are looking at a product and you look at it and think, I can't sell that for that price, then move on. Again, a good way of doing that is finding competitors and seeing how they're pricing their product as well, and going off, okay, so they must be sourcing it for a similar price and they're selling it for that. You can find, you can either go underneath them, or you can go just above them for value perception purposes. This leaves room for ads, upsells, and scaling. So you have to implement, when you are thinking about your price, okay, cool, you might be able to make $10, buy for 10 and sell for 10. So you're making, you're 2xing. That's fine. But then you have to implement that you are going to be spending money on ads as well. So you're balancing three things. You're going to be balancing the price of the product that you're paying, the shipping that you're doing as well, and the ads. And then all that is, you got to squeeze that. Imagine we're on a bar, right? We got to squeeze that down, and that little percentage there is your profit. So you have to try and figure that out from the get-go. There's no point testing a product. It might do well, but you could just be breaking even and you won't be able to scale because simply the pricing's not there. If the price feels stupid, the product will die. Now, just make sure the product is sellable all year round. If you're looking at a Santa hat, for example, you are not going to be able to sell that in January, February, well, even throughout the fucking whole year, to be fair. I don't know who's buying a Santa hat. But just make sure the product is sellable all year round. It's evergreen. This will allow you to build a brand, not just a pump and dump product. Testing is the real business. 90% of businesses fail. And we test until we land in the 10%. Now, of course, I can give you a good idea. I've seen multiple winners, and I have a better idea than probably you do when it comes to looking for them. Hopefully what I'm explaining will give you a better idea. But again, none of us will be able to guarantee it. So testing is really, really important because not me, not you, not even fucking Jeff Bezos will be able to tell you that a product is 100% going to work. Now, I test around 10 products a month, and I have about maybe 1 to 3 winners each month. I've been doing this for years, and I'm still testing like that, okay? No one can guarantee that winner. Early signs matter. Now, this more comes to when we actually start testing, but I thought I'd add it in anyway, because the reason why I add this in is we are choosing products that already work, something that has already been proven in the market. Now, I'm going to show you, I think it's after this slide, I'm going to show you the equation that we do that, but positive signs after $250 rather than after $1,000. Anything works. Now, I'm going to go back to Jeff Bezos and explain that Amazon was a bookstore for 7 years. Only after he changed his product or his strategy, his offer, or whatever it was, that's when it hit. So you can spend 7 years trying to make these books work, but you have to understand there's a product out there that will work today. Not something that's going to work in 3 months, not something that's going to work in 4, something that's going to work now. You can stick with it if you're really passionate about it, and we can try and help you with that. But the reason why we're doing this now is to build brands fast. Okay, that's how you know the market already wants it. You are not forcing demand. Now, forcing demand is more all in the marketing. And like I said, that's probably around a 20%, sometimes 30% that's reliable for your actual sales, okay? But if you have a good website and a good product, 9 times out of 10, it's going to sell, no matter the marketing. Market validation, the equation. I have gone through this in the product research video. Now, you will be seeing the product research video after this if you've just joined the course. Now, we don't guess, we have a educated guess. We estimate. Most winning stores, profitable stores, are doing about a 3% conversion rate on their brands. So the validation equation is we find monthly website visitors, we times it by 0.03, which divides it, and that basically gives you 3% of their monthly visitors, and then we times it by whatever their product price is. Now, this will give you how much, an estimate of what they are doing. They could be doing more, they could be doing less, but it's a good idea of what they're doing. And we want to be seeing something at least 300k plus per month. Now, I try not to go too high because sometimes if you're actually going into a market where there's a competitor doing millions, then they're going to be blowing you out on ads and your CPMs are going to be extremely high. You probably don't know what CPMs are just yet, but I'll give you a quick explanation. CPMs are cost per mile, cost per 1,000 people that see it. We want that to be as cheap as possible when it comes to running ads, and that will allow us to have better margins and profit margins, okay? And if somebody's already piling thousands into ads, into a product, into a niche that you're trying to get into or you're trying to compete with, it's going to be a whole lot more difficult, and you're going to have to spend a whole lot more money to try and bully them out of the market through angling. Now, again, we can get them down through angling and through testing different desires. However, I'd say just keep it below 1 million. Even try and keep it between 300k to around like 500k, because that way we can see that it's working, but there's definitely room for improvement. So we don't need the exact numbers, we just need directional confidence, knowing that this is something that is definitely selling in the market, but still needs a little bit of work at the same time. So another thing, shipping will kill you if you ignore it. So like I said, fit in 2 hands, be lightweight, be cheap to ship. If we don't, margins will die, scaling dies, stress will skyrocket because you're spending too much money, or you ran this product, it looks like you're going to make profit, and then bang, you hit with a shipping invoice that takes out all of your profit and more. So now you're in a loss. So if the shipping feels heavy, avoid it. Now choose a product that is easy to bundle. You need to find a product that you can add. So for example, if you are selling a gym shorts for women that makes their arse look bigger, for example, then you can upsell that with a matching top, right? And you can give them a good offer. So your offer is absolutely everything, and it is something that you should think about when you are looking for these products. So say even if it's eye cream, right, to stop eye bags, what can you upsell that with? You can maybe upsell that with like an eye mask that they can put on later on that day, and that's also going to help them with their deep insecure problem. So something that relates and something that will help you build offer and your AOV, it will really help you make more money, and it will increase your margins. Now, just to summarize absolutely everything so it's clear and everything that I've just said doesn't go in one ear and out the other, I'm just going to run through these quickly. I know I've spoken quite a lot this video. So targets a deep emotional insecurity. So this is the biggest thing. This is the first thing you should look for, and then the rest comes after. Okay, so don't even look at it twice. Don't do all of this extra research on the product if it's just simply not attacking a deep emotional insecurity. Okay, something that is really cutting deep, and I cannot stress that enough. How much is it cutting deep? You need to find something that is hurting someone. Okay, I know that sounds savage, but we've got to be. We're here for ourselves, right? Solves a problem that feels urgent and painful right now. It's not nice to have, it needs fixing. Okay, so not a Louis Vuitton bag, we're talking like Monjaro jabs. You get me? The two different things there. Allows you to be direct but indirect, so something that will give you the edge to be able to be understanding about the person's problems, to be so sympathetic towards their problems, but also while indirectly attacking them. I sound quite cold-blooded doing this, but you have to be, okay? It feels like an easy fix, less effort, less thinking, instant relief, which will lead to an impulse buy like that. Trust me. It can be sold 2.5 times or 3 times above the COGs whilst it's still making sense. Okay, is evergreen. It's not seasonable. It's not seasonal, not trend reliant or brand scalable. Okay. Shows positive signals early. So we're spending $250 in ads. Again, this is something that you're not going to be looking at just yet, but I just thought I'd add it in there just because I feel like it does relate a little bit. Is already proven in the market. These two relate. So it's already proven in the market, will create revenue potential using validation maths. Again, you've got that. I do go over it and I show you how to do it in the next video you'll watch. So if you're wondering about that, don't stress yourself on this video trying to find the information. I go through it all in the next one. Is small and lightweight. You can hold it in 2 hands and can be bundled or expanded. So this will increase your AOV and will help you actually scale way more profitably in the end. Okay, so something that you can also add to. So this can just relate to like a strong niche, something that, you know, people, again, need the problem solving. I will always go back to a problem solving product. Now the truth, product selection is not hope, it's not emotion, it's not guessing. It genuinely is cold analysis, relentless testing, and deep understanding of human psychology. Now, Don't worry about that last bit. It's quite intense, I know. But the more you do this, the more you have a better understanding. You are in the right place. The only way you're going to learn about human psychology is genuinely by working with humans. And working with humans, working with the numbers from human activity. So talking about ads, talking about looking, okay, so how many monthly visitors have they got? Let's divide it by this and then get our monthly revenue. All that is actually analysing human psychology. It's just, we've got to go quite deep with it here. ChatGPT is here too. Let's not be fake around here. Like, I use that for sales psychology as well. I've never been trained in sales. I have a good idea what it is now because I've been in the game. However, it does help and kind of helps you break down humans as well. Choose the right product and you've already done half the work. Now, I really do hope this helps. If I've missed anything, let me know. Put a comment under this video and I will see you in the next video. Yeah, I'm going to think about what I'm going to do for that one. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.